Hey y'all, I want to mess around a little bit today with feedback loops. Over the summer, I've been catching up on some listening, doing some reading, watching some other artists' videos, and I got a little bit hooked on this idea of feedback. Previously, I made these videos about Krell music, and that's actually a kind of feedback loop, but I want to look specifically at audio feedback today. This is inspired by some videos I've been checking out. I'll link those in the description below, but also 1960s ideas of cybernetics and Japanese noise music. And so all this reading put together, I started to think about, okay, well, I've been messing around showing some stuff on Eurorack, showing some stuff on Kima, but I wanted to refocus myself on one of the goals in these videos with the data bending and the pure data, which is that anybody can make music. Anybody can make this sound art. And the message I hope you take away is not, if you buy this thing, then anybody can make music. It's that you can do it. I also came across this quote by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., which helped recenter me a little bit. Every man lives in two realms, the internal and the external. The internal is that realm of spiritual ends expressed in art, literature, morals, and religion. The external is that complex of devices, techniques, mechanisms, and instrumentalities by means of which we live. Our problem today is we have allowed the internal to become lost in the external. We've allowed the means by which we live to outdistance the ends for which we live. So much of modern life can be summarized in that arresting dictum of the poet Thoreau, improved means to an unimproved end. So I'm returning to means that I purchased probably over 20 years ago, and whether the end is improved or not is maybe immaterial here. Overall, the idea here is I'm gonna create some positive feedback. So positive feedback is feedback that builds on itself. So this is a pretty straightforward idea. I'll take the out of the mixer and run that out directly back into the in. So now we have a feedback loop. A sound comes in here and then it's gonna come out there. So if I can find a spot, I'm going very slowly here. Oh, there we go. All right, so now we have it feeding back on itself. Okay, and I can turn this down, and now I've broken the feedback loop. Now I can mess with this feedback loop. Let's get it going again. So by changing the EQ here and the gains of these, I'm changing how that feedback loop goes. Now, instead of just taking that and feeding it back on itself, I can put a pedal in. So again, this pedal will come out of our left and go in. I've got this pan left at the moment and go into our left. So now, distortion on. Okay, neat. So now I have the feedback sound coming through. And again, so there's no sound going in anywhere here, right? The only sound that's produced is from, again, if we have this loop, there's some noise or something going on in that mixer that eventually starts self-oscillating. That's a very high one. I don't want it to be too high. Oop, yep, there it is. So I'm not running any sound in, it's just set up to self-oscillate. So I thought, hey, wouldn't it be interesting if I took the out from the left, ran that in to my metal zone here, and ran that then, well, actually, let's take the out from the right, because this is closer. Out from the right, goes into the metal zone, comes in on the left, out from the left, goes into my digital delay, and comes in on the right. And so now what's going to happen, I have these hard panned, but of course I'm sure there's some crosstalk going on. Comes out of here, goes into here, which then comes out of here, and comes into here. So we've got a nice little sort of loop, a figure 8. Maybe that's not a great way to think about it, but a nice little loop that we can play with the sound even more. So let's try to get this resonating. Delicate touch. And now I have all sorts of ways to play with it. I can turn off my delay, I can turn off my distortion. Oops, that... Okay, so this is just the loop without the effects. An EQ on my metal zone here. That's the EQ here. Delay time. Feedback, crank that. Make them both mono. Alright, you get the idea. My point here, though, is, hey, I can make crazy noisy music without my Eurorack synth. Again, for today and for all my videos, I really want you to take away the point that you can make music and sound art with any and everything. Understanding fundamentals, having that know-how, that's the most important thing. Again, I think this is an $89 mixer, maybe even cheaper used, get a cheap Behringer one. I don't know what a Metal Zone goes for these days. I think this is like 50 bucks or something. Digital delay, I believe these are probably kind of expensive, but it's not necessary, right? You don't even need either of these pedals. I got another video where I'm just messing around with doing feedback loops on the mixer. It can be useful to be able to use a variety of different tools, and working with different tools can help you understand the fundamentals from different angles. But you can make exciting sounds with whatever's around you. I want to encourage you to have some fun and do so. That's all I got for today. Catch you next time.